Oh, lover, please, please stay. Don't say you have to go. Don't
Today I'm going to a lesser-known Las Vegas site. Back to the beginnings. Before there was glitz and glamour and places to party and play, there were people that came to the desert to preach and to pray. I'm headed to Old Mormon Fort State Historic Park, where Las Vegas began. I'm almost to the fort, and apparently Elvis slept right here. I can't say it looks very comfortable though, but I guess sitting there would be even worse. That thing's pointy. That must be where he got the inspiration for Don't Be Cruel. And now passing by the Las Vegas Natural History Museum, with a pretty cool, colorful mural on the side wall over there. It's already beginning to get hot, but definitely not as hot as it will be in a few hours. The edges of the historic park are right there on the next block on the right side. It's the back part of it, so to get to the front you just go to the traffic light and you turn right. Right now we're getting to the front at about 7:40 a.m. The park doesn't open until 8, so they should be opening in just a few minutes. You can see it doesn't stay open very late. They lock the gates here at 4:30 p.m. Now let's go into the visitor center and have a look before we head out to the fort itself. First, here's the souvenir shop. Shot glasses and Mormon. Well, there's two words you don't usually hear in the same sentence.
So are you going to do deposits today? Yeah, I'll do deposits today. There was a,
Let's see here. Pins marking where people that have visited here are from. It appears not a lot of Africans have visited here, and even fewer penguins.
No, he went and read the sign for a long time back in Grant, right here. I was watching him, and then he went back this way to the fence, and I went outside, and I couldn't find him. And I thought, oh, there's my mother. And the next thing I know, he's coming back, and he's looking in the pond. Maybe it was just curious, right? But he was looking. Yeah. Very much okay.
before it became the entertainment capital of the world, before the sprawling subdivisions and millions of yearly visitors, before the grand casinos, flashy neon lights, and ringing slot machines, Las Vegas was little more than a small...
Alright, now let's go outside and check out the actual fort and the surrounding area. Alright, picture this. You're in Las Vegas. It's 1855. No casinos. No Elvis impersonators. Not even a single slot machine in sight. What you do have is dirt. And a little fort made of mud bricks. Welcome to the old Mormon fort. The spot where Las Vegas was actually born. They picked this spot because of the natural spring that created lush meadows, hence the name Las Vegas, Spanish for the meadows. Without that spring, you can bet there's a good chance Las Vegas and this valley would have stayed empty for a lot longer. The Spanish explorers had passed through here and named the area, but they never settled it. It was just a desolate place in the Mojave Desert along the Spanish Trail between New Mexico and California. Well, it's not exactly the Mississippi, but it's something. It definitely does feel cooler over here. Little hummingbird there. This humble adobe fort is the oldest standing structure built by humans in all of Nevada. It was built by a group of 32 Mormon missionaries who came down from Salt Lake City. Their mission? Convert the local Southern Paiute people, plant crops, and start an Elvis Presley fan club. Start a settlement here in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The Paiute tribe had long been in and around this area. They were a nomadic hunter-gatherer people, so they didn't build permanent settlements. Now these early LDS settlers weren't just praying and sweating. They built a 150-foot-long adobe fort, grew crops, dug irrigation ditches, and set up a blacksmith shop. But the Paiute tribe didn't like them there, and violent raids became more and more frequent with time. So, by 1857, the church decided to bring back the missionaries to Salt Lake City and abandon the fort. Enter Octavius D. Gass. Despite what his name sounds like, he was not in the oil business, and he never picked a fight with Spider-Man as far as we can tell. But he was a prospector, rancher, and businessman. He took over the fort in the 1860s, turned it into a ranch, and renamed the area Las Vegas Rancho. It became a stop for travelers and wagon trains, kind of the 1860s version of a roadside diner, only with more horses and fewer people acting like horses' rear ends. Here's a plaque commemorating the site of the first Las Vegas post office. It was ran by the LDS missionaries at the fort from 1855 to 1857. Anyway, getting back to our story, Gass made some bad decisions and got himself into debt. A man named Archibald Stewart was a creditor that came to collect that debt around 1881. When Gass couldn't pay, Stewart took the ranch. Stewart promised his wife Helen they would just be there for a year while he got the ranch sorted out. So he took her along, out of the city and civilization, to a ranch in the middle of the desert. Stewart tried to play peacemaker in a local dispute and ended up getting himself shot and killed instead, leaving wife Helen alone with 5 children. But instead of packing up, she took on the ranch herself and stayed. She would later be known as the First Lady of Las Vegas. Helen Stewart didn't just survive, she thrived. After her husband was killed, she took over the ranch, expanded it into the largest property in the valley, and became the biggest landowner around. In 1902, she sold a massive chunk of land to the railroad, which led to the founding of Las Vegas. She also supported education, built relationships with the local Paiute community, and even became Nevada's first female regent. That's why they call her the First Lady of Las Vegas, because without her, there might not be a Las Vegas. And in case you can't read this plaque, this flag is a replica of the one the Mormon missionaries made in 1855. Just weeks after they had gotten there was July 4th, and they wanted to celebrate the American Independence Day. So among other things, they made their own American flag out of clothes, including red flannel and denim for the blue. The Stewart Ranch house once sat on this site. Today, nothing remains above the ground of the nearly 40 years that Helen Stewart lived on this site. But if you could dig into the ground here, you will find remains of the foundation of the first Stewart house. The original house was moved to North Las Vegas in the 1960s and served as a restaurant until the 1990s. It has since been demolished, which personally makes me sick. I hate destroying history. So we're currently in the oldest standing building in the state of Nevada. And down here are original bricks from the original fort made by the Mormon missionaries in 1855. And here's a statue of a young Helen Stewart, First Lady of Las Vegas. There are videos out there of an old Helen Stewart from the early 1900s. Here's a brick for William Bringhurst, who was the leader of the Mormon expedition of missionaries sent to Las Vegas in 1855. And here's a brick for the Las Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup Hockey Championship, which was not in 1855. However, I'm sure they would have been more than happy to take the ice. Well, we've reached the end of the road for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and come back real soon.